Oh, over the years, I've driven hundreds of these. I have definitely driven too many trucks that were done incorrectly as far as suspension and ride quality goes. The quality wasn't there as far as performance goes. You weren't able to utilize your truck as a truck anymore, which is one of the cool parts of having one of those trucks with a good stance, with a good suspension system underneath of it, that you're still able to utilize it the way you want to and still enjoy the ride. I just like the way they look. They just got a styling cue that draws you in. It's a utilitarian hot rod. I can go out and I can have fun in it, and it's a good looking vehicle, and I can still do things that I need to do that I have to have a truck for. Ridetech has always provided the best quality product on the market, and with this new coilover kit, it has just taken a good product and made it simpler and better. You can do it at home with a bunch of hand tools. This is all bolt in. Do it in your driveway, finish it in a weekend. You're gonna have fun. Let's get started. Since it's a complete kit, we're gonna go ahead and remove all of the stock front suspension. With the upper control arms removed, it's necessary to see if the alignment slugs have been knocked out. We're going to use an air chisel to knock ours out. Before we install the coilovers, we're going to have to remove the tabs in the upper spring pocket. With the tabs removed, now we're going to enlarge the shock mount hole. The control arms come with the ball joints and bushings installed. Use the factory bolts to mount the lower control arms in place. To install the upper control arms, we're going to use the factory eccentric bolts. They're necessary for aligning the front end. Ridetech's upper and lower control arms feature self-lubricating Delrin bushings, which reduces stiction and deflection. With the coilover in place, install the Delrin swivel mount. The shock needs to be tight, but it still needs to articulate. When we designed the control arms for the lowered truck, rather than copying the GM stamped control arms, we took it a step further. We re-engineered the geometry so the truck would perform and handle better. Last thing to remember when installing the coilovers is to put the adjustable knob on the shock shaft. Install the spindle in the upper and lower control arm. Don't forget to use the supplied cotter key. To clear your new spindle, you're going to have to put a small notch in the backing plate. We're reusing the factory brakes, but this kit will accommodate a wide range of different aftermarket brake packages. Reinstall the tie rod and the brake line to the upper control arm. Mount the sway bar adapter plates to the frame. We've included a Delrin liner. All right, this makes it maintenance free. This makes it so you don't have to lubricate it. This makes it so that you don't have stiction or deflection. This increases the quality of the ride, the quietness of the ride. It's taken it to another level. The kit includes upgraded end links that allow the sway bar to articulate without bind. To get started installing the rear system, you will have to take off the bed. But don't get overwhelmed. It's only a half a dozen bolts, and you're going to have to get some friends to come and give you some help. You'll want to make sure that your rear end is properly supported before you get started. Remove the leaf springs and loosen the brake lines. The kit comes with a template for both sides. It has an alignment hole indicator so you can get the template lined up with the frame. Now, not every frame is going to come with both of the holes. So if you get the one lined up, then you square the template with the frame If you want to, you can measure from the template to the bottom of the frame. Just make sure that you get this as squared up in here as possible, and it's going to be good. Once you get the C-notch template where you want it, you want to mark your frame. Now that we've cut the C-notch out of the frame, I know what you're thinking. I've got this big section of frame gone. With the longer C-notch and the extra lip, the frame is actually stronger than it was from the factory. Now all we have to do is drill the holes, put in the bolts, we're ready to go. To keep everything lined up, we're going to drill the front and rear holes first, draw them in with the bolts. That way when we drill the rest of the holes, everything's going to line up like it should. With the C-notches in place, we can mount the front cross member. With the rear end properly supported, we can remove the shocks. The rear wishbone installs on the differential, so you have to remove some of the factory bolts and replace them with the supplied studs. It's a lot easier to install the wishbone on the mounting bracket before you put it in the truck. Your brake line T-block bolts to the diff mount. The great thing about the self-lubricating Delrin bushings in the wishbone is that it's maintenance free. Plus, it almost completely eliminates stiction and deflection. Install the wishbone ball joint to the front cross member. Mount the lower link brackets to the rear end. The shock mount installs in the top two holes in the bracket. Don't forget to use the supplied Loctite when installing the shock studs. Using the supplied spacers, install the lower bars. To make it easy to adjust, install the coilovers with the adjust knob down. Depending on the kind of exhaust system you have, you may have to make some modifications. The system includes a bracket that sets the brake lines out so they can be installed with the new C-notches. To make room for the new suspension, you will have to remove the center cross brace from the bed. With the bed installed, the last step is adjusting the coilovers to your desired ride height and getting the front end aligned.